Before we begin, thank you very much to Bloody Vicious for joining the Patreon campaign. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Very appreciated. Vicious pitched in at the highest tier. They have an interesting creative writing request. We will get to that in due time. For now, I thought, well, truth be told, Bloody Vicious is an old friend of mine. And the thing I remember the most is visiting his house, going to his bathroom, and finding a bunch of Transformer comics in there for reading material, which is an interesting choice for a bathroom. So today we are going to be talking about the Skybound issues 17 and 18. This is a little bit overdue. I'm losing track of when. I want to give everyone a buffer, so you have a chance to read it yourself before I list, because I don't want to make this a replacement for actually going out and reading the comic books for yourself, because they are exceptionally good stories and they are very good comic books. I'm here to just give you my thoughts after the fact, and hopefully you will go see and read it for yourself. In that same vein, as you know, I am trying to keep the visuals from the books. I'm trying to keep it to public promo material and very, very minimal usage from the actual comic art. I want you guys to experience it for yourselves. But we will begin with issue 18. We'll be dancing around issue 17 and 18 because the storylines all kind of flow together here. And really, they're pretty straightforward this time. There's not a whole lot of weirdness to keep track of. Coming out of issue 16, the story I was most interested in was Thundercracker, because he just discovered that what happened to Skywarp being trapped inside of Teletran 1 was something that Soundwave assisted in. It wasn't just Starscream's choice, meaning Thundercracker now feels betrayed by two of the Transformers that were above him in the pecking order. So he's pretty much abandoned the Decepticons at this point, and I was excited to see where they go with this. But unfortunately, we only got a few panels of him returning to the Ark and trying to extract Skywarp, and then finding out if he attempts that, Skywarp will die. So his story is mostly just going to be to get his Seeker brother out of the system without killing him, however that is possible. There is a comic cover out there, minor spoiler alert, but not really, I'll explain why, where it's a shot of Megatron and Soundwave and Thundercracker together. And my hope is that's not where things end up. I like Rogue Thundercracker. Obviously in this book, he does not want to harm the humans at all. He feels bad about doing it, bad about the other Decepticons doing it. So I'm really intrigued to see just how true to his original intended characterization they stick, and what happens to Skywarp, because Skywarp was actually playing ball with the Autobots for a while. He was actually okay with allowing Teletran to repair them. So I'm really curious about these two and where this goes and what happens to them after, because they will inevitably get Skywarp out of there. Inevitably. I'm curious what happens to them once they do. Let's check in on Carly, RC, and Beachcomber, who do find Ultra Magnus, who is now so paranoid and frightened he has constructed an entire fortress. He has turned a forest into a fortress to try to protect himself. The PTSD is running extremely hard, and after, centuries of torture, I can kind of understand why. I can completely understand why. It's a weird story to tell with Ultra Magnus, because you really don't think of him as the war-torn bot that goes through this kind of thing. But I feel like that's the point of picking Magnus for this storyline, because it's supposed to show that even the big warriors, even the really big, even the really powerful warriors can experience this if they have gone through enough trauma. So in that, okay, I will give it to him. This is actually an interesting choice for the story. As they're trying to talk him through, the defenses were proven to be necessary, not from Decepticons, humans. A batch of human military came to attack, and they made off with both Carly and Ultra Magnus. So now we have to see where that goes. And this is one of those storylines where it feels like, man, like they never let up, like they never get a break. Like I feel like the human side of this story needs a little bit of time to just sit, breathe, and collect itself without anything else going like tremendously wrong. But I don't think I'm going to get that anytime soon. So that's another story they touched on a little bit, but not a whole lot. If we get into the two major stories for these issues, one of them is happening on Cybertron, and that is with Elita 1's ragtag batch of surviving Autobots. Cliff Jumpers recovered this canister with a bunch of spark fragments in it. So their plan is to actually use it to forge a brand new warrior and hope that that turns the tide of the battle. You know, having someone completely fresh on the battlefield with, you know, full power, not worn out, not damaged in any way, would actually help a lot right now. So, they invade a Decepticon guarded facility. They happen to have enough raw material lying around, the raw material being the remains of Carly's van. And it gives rise to a new Transformer by the name of Shredhead. I'm not sure how I feel about Shredhead just yet. For one, their design is a little bit derivative of just like stock standard Transformer stuff. You know, the front end becomes the chest, etc., etc. So they're not really standing out in any particular way like that. And so far, Shredhead seems to come off as just like almost like self-insert fanfic, because their first demonstration of strength is just like wiping out Seekers, like, you know, the Rainmaker batch that were just like annihilated by this guy. And okay, fine, he's a brand new character, and they want to emphasize the fact that he's a completely, or that they, because the writers refer to them as they them. And that is because they are a lot of different spark fragments mixed together. So there's male sparks and female sparks all in there at the same time. So we're dealing with a they-them. We're dealing with a gender neutral, or at the very least a character who has not identified their gender yet, so we will not assume it. So we will stick to that. But they are just laying out Seekers. And it's you know, it's that fresh character, you know? It's like, it's when the 6th Ranger shows up in Power Rangers or Super Sentai, and the first time out, they are absolutely unstoppable. And then later on, they eventually mellow out and start feeling like more like on the power level of the team. Same situation here. Same situation. And I expect that with, you know, like a multi-being spark in there, like being this amalgamous being, like I can actually like expect this character to have some kind of really interesting story to them at some point. For now, it's just introductory. Still not sure about how I feel about the name Shredhead. We will return to them in a future issue. Oh, by the way, for anyone who wants a little bit of weird continuity stuff, we got to see Thrust in this issue on Cybertron in his Earth vehicle mode. Explain that one to me, please, Sky. Like, Skybound's been really, really good with this franchise. One slight sticking point here. This is just a little bit off. Just a little bit. But it's funny. The main thing going through these two issues is the battle between Devastator and Bruticus. Two warring factions of Decepticons just absolutely going at each other. And they basically just left it to the combiners. Like, outside of a hilarious attack from like a kamikaze rumble, to ground Astro Train. It's pretty much just down to this huge slugfest between Bruticus and Devastator. And there's, there's a couple things going on here while this is going on. So number one is Bruticus is just fiercely loyal to Starscream. Like, if anything, Bruticus is on the losing end of this combiner battle for the most part, largely because Starscream is constantly in need of help, and Bruticus has to keep going after him. And Bruticus is completely okay with this. This is not a frustration. Like, he is entirely, the Combaticons in general are fiercely loyal to Starscream. Drastic difference from Starscream's brigade. So cool to see, like, Starscream's got loyal minions. That'll come in handy. You will see why in a minute. Oh, also, before we move away from this fight, it basically ends with Devastator getting the upper hand with an RKO out of nowhere. Smashed a few skyscrapers in the process of RKOing, Bruticus off the top of the tallest one. It's amazing. I love that, we've got wrestling people who are doing the writing for this. This is so much fun to randomly see wrestling moves in a Transformer comic. I don't know, it's hysterical to keep up with. At some point, like when Skybound hits another like good stopping point in their story, like they hit like another good jumping on point, I need to just go back and just do like here's all the wrestling moves that you saw in the Transformer Skybound issues. Like, here you go. Here's a power. This is called a power bomb. This is called a ripcord lariat. This is called a cutter. Either originally an ace cutter, then a diamond cutter, currently an RKO. But there are many cut. My wrestling geek is showing now. So the big thing across two issues is the Decepticons in their own internal war, basically with the Combiners being at the head of it. But the other thing going on is the Autobots in full rescue mode. They have no way of stopping any of this combat from happening. There is literally nothing they can do to stop two rampaging Combiners. They could barely handle one. How are they going to handle two? Not happening. So instead, Prime focuses all of his efforts on rescue. Because this city is going to get demolished no matter what. They do not have a counterpoint to that, but they can get as many humans out as possible. And that's exactly what they do. And I actually love to see this. One of my biggest gripes with some Transformer stories, and the live action movie started to do this too, starting with Age of Extinction. Technically starting with Dark of the Moon, but you get my drift. I hate when the heroes are treated like the villains. Either through like the villains manipulating public perception, or the Autobots getting lumped in with Decepticons because we have to tell a racism allegory. I hate when the good guys aren't treated like the good guys. It just feels wrong. I want my heroes to look and feel like heroes. I want the characters in the universe to know that they're heroes. Right? Like, don't I want my good guys to actually, be treated like that? So I hate when the world is against the Autobots. I hate stories that tell that. And they were leaning in that direction. But these two issues where they are on full rescue mode, this feels like a turning point. Because there's so many people who are going to get rescued by the Autobot crew that there's no way that they are going to be like looked upon as the same as the Decepticons here. You've got two rampaging giants who are destroying the entire city, and then you have all these small cars that are just shuttling people out of the debris and saving their lives. And that should go a long way. You even have scenes that are like very reminiscent of like scenes I saw in like I can remember in like Spider-Man comics, where like Prime's holding up a huge wall until, so it can't collapse onto a group of humans, things like that. Trailbreaker throwing himself into the path of, like stray blasts and all that. The Autobots here are being just heroes. They aren't trying to stop or trying to battle in the war today. They're just trying to be heroes. This is going to go a long way. This is where you get a changing in the perception, where the public might actually be able to tell the difference between an Autobot and a Decepticon. And I'm looking forward to that, because I want them to actually be the good guys. So, let's go back to the Decepticon fight, because it ends after the RKO, but really, it ends when he shows up. When Megatron takes the field. He is missing an arm. He is wired into Laserbeak because he is missing his eyes. And I don't know why, but somehow, the way they're drawing him, the way they're writing him, this Megatron has an aura that I have not seen in a Megatron in a long time. This Megatron is genuinely frightening. This Megatron is genuinely intimidating. Like, look at this panel. It's like the way he's shaded and just the way he's depicted, it just has such an ominous presence to it. And by the way, the first thing he does when he reaches Soundwave is repairs Ravage. The one thing that Soundwave has wanted this entire series so far. He just wants his friend repaired. For all the times Starscream just slapped him away, for all the times that Shockwave just wanted to scrap him, Megatron thought nothing of it. He repairs Ravage. Here you go. And it's just, oof. I'm not going to I wanted to show you the final page of issue 18, but I can't. Because it is frankly chilling. And I need you to experience it yourself. If you have not experienced it yourself, you need to experience it for yourself. It is worth it. So, I'm looking forward to what comes after this. How the Decepticon sides shake out now that Megatron is back on the field. And then there is this. Astrotrain sees the target he's been waiting for all this time, and he is going for blood, oil, energy. What mech fluid? I don't know what it is in this universe. He's going to kill Megatron. He's probably going to die trying. Oh, but is he ever going to try? So, I'm really excited for issue 19. I'm always excited when a new issue of this book comes out. This is a fantastic book. You need to go read it yourself if you haven't been reading it. Yeah, it just continues to be strong. My only issue here is that, the human side of the story feels like it needs a little bit of a rest. Just like a little bit of room to breathe. Just a little bit. So, fingers crossed. Because, I need that story to slow down just a little bit. I like these characters to, stop having, a major incident happen every hour of their lives. Beyond that, though, everything else seems like it's setting up extremely nicely. I'm looking forward to what comes next. So, that's the review of issue 17 and 18. As always, thank you very much for watching. Go support the comic book. It deserves it. And as always, I will see you next time. Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.